History tells us that Rome collapsed in the year 476, but history often simplifies what it does not fully understand. Empires do not disappear overnight. They transform. They weaken slowly. They fracture from within before they fall from without. So what if Rome did not fall because it was weak, but because it stood at the edge of transformation? What if collapse was not failure, but a missed evolution? In the year 10, a Greek engineer named Hero of Alexandria designed a primitive steam device known as the Aeolipile. It was simple: a hollow sphere, heated water, rotational motion. In our timeline, it remained a curiosity, a mechanical toy, a demonstration of pressure and motion. But imagine if Roman engineers had recognized its potential, not as entertainment, not as novelty, but as infrastructure. Imagine if the empire that mastered roads, aqueducts, military logistics, and structural engineering had also mastered steam power. Because Rome was never technologically ignorant. It built infrastructure at a scale the ancient world had never seen. It connected continents with roads. It transported water across mountains. It organized supply chains that fed entire armies thousands of miles from home. Its weakness was not intelligence. It was incentive. Cheap slave labor reduced the urgency for mechanization. Abundant manpower delayed industrial innovation. Human bodies were cheaper than machines, but removed that dependency, introduced scarcity, introduced economic pressure, introduce military necessity. Suddenly, steam is no longer a toy. It becomes leverage. An early industrial revolution in the 2nd century would not merely accelerate transportation, it would restructure labor. Steam-powered mills would replace manual grain processing. Mechanized foundries would increase metallurgical output. Mining operations would deepen. Shipbuilding would evolve beyond wind dependency. Military logistics would multiply in efficiency, and Rome's greatest strength was never conquest. It was administration. A steam-enhanced bureaucracy could move goods faster, move information faster, move authority faster. Tax systems could centralize, supply chains could synchronize, production could scale. And with economic acceleration comes geopolitical stability. The crisis of the 3rd century, driven by economic strain and political instability, might never have occurred under a mechanized economy capable of sustaining imperial demand. Now consider construction. Modern material science has revealed something remarkable. Roman concrete contains mineral compositions that allow it to self-heal over time. In our world, this knowledge faded. In an alternate Rome, it becomes a foundation. Imagine cities built from materials that strengthen instead of decay. Infrastructure engineered for permanence. Bridges that endure centuries without collapse. Harbors that resist erosion. Urban systems designed not for decades, but for millennia. A civilization that builds to outlast time. By the year 1000, this Rome would no longer resemble antiquity. It would resemble an early industrial superpower. Europe industrializes centuries ahead of schedule. Political fragmentation never fully materializes. The Atlantic becomes a Roman highway. The Americas are not discovered by divided kingdoms. They are integrated as provinces of a unified empire. Industrial acceleration fuels scientific inquiry. Mechanical engineering evolves into applied physics. Applied physics evolves into electrical experimentation. Communication systems develop earlier. Information spreads faster. Latin becomes the universal language of science. But technological acceleration introduces tension. Efficiency centralizes power. Historically, Rome created the frumentarii, an intelligence network used for surveillance and information control. In an advanced timeline, that system evolves. Administrative records become data systems. data systems become predictive governance. A mechanized empire moves toward algorithmic control. Crime decreases, infrastructure optimizes, economic waste minimizes, but privacy erodes. Freedom becomes conditional. The Pax Romana transforms into enforced stability. Order thrives. But autonomy contracts. Would citizens accept this exchange?
Good.
History suggests they might. Because stability is persuasive, security is comfortable, prosperity is convincing. Now, extend this trajectory further. By the year 2026, this empire would not be confined to Earth. Industrial acceleration brings early experimentation in propulsion. Advanced metallurgy improves structural capacity. Strategic research expands beyond atmospheric boundaries. Space exploration becomes institutional. Mars colonization becomes strategic expansion. Not conquest through legions, but expansion through engineering. Domes on Mars, built from composite marble polymers. Closed-loop agricultural ecosystems, designed through logistical precision. Energy grids, stabilized through centuries of engineering continuity. The Roman eagle no longer symbolizes territorial conquest. It symbolizes systemic continuity. But here lies the deeper paradox. Did Rome survive because it evolved, or because it centralized control beyond resistance? Empires rarely fall from invasion alone. They fall from rigidity. If Rome industrialized early, it might avoid stagnation. If it digitized governance, it might avoid fragmentation. But no system escapes entropy. Efficiency can become oppression. Stability can become stagnation. Control can become fragility. Perhaps Rome did not fall in our timeline because it was incapable. Perhaps it fell because evolution demands renewal, and renewal often requires disruption. In this alternate world, Rome survives. It modernizes. It expands. It mechanizes. It colonizes. But survival does not guarantee wisdom, because every empire faces the same equation. How do you scale power without scaling vulnerability? How do you expand control without contracting humanity? History says Rome collapsed. Science says it almost transformed. But perhaps the real lesson is not about Rome at all. It is about us. Because every civilization reaches a moment where efficiency tempts control, where security tempts sacrifice, where power tempts permanence. And every empire falls.
If you enjoy deep alternate history documentaries like this, subscribe to Imperial Echoes and explore the echoes of history with us.